Hello everyone. We are actually flooded with Airbuses here these days. There's actually a new release from another company that was creating an Airbus A319. Pretty much, yeah, not very loud, not as loud as FlightFactor. So I actually found out about ToLiss not that long ago, and I was actually wondering when they would release and what we would actually get when they release it. And what you see here is the ToLiss A319. You get that one on the xplane.org store, and it is not exactly cheap. It is $70. So, yep, it has a price, this thing. And everybody's now wondering probably, yeah, but how good is this? And is it as good as the FlightFactor, or where would we put it here in the hierarchy of Airbus add-ons? Well, it's not a FlightFactor, that's for sure. So you will not get the same kind of level of system depth and functionality and looks that you get with the FlightFactor, at least not right now. Because personally, I have a feeling this thing isn't finished. Okay, that doesn't necessarily mean that it is bad. It just is, it looks a bit like an unfinished product that had been released because someone had promised to release it at a particular time. So yeah, there are two versions that you get when you buy this aircraft. There is a high density and a single or standard density, or whatever that's called. So basically, I would think that the textures in the one case are something like 4K or so, and in the other one's 2K, something like that. To tell you the truth, when we go a bit closer, this is the HD version. Don't mind the anti-alias settings, although I have vamped it up a little bit. But yeah, I have to say I'm not impressed. Now, you know me, I'm not that. That is not as important for me, but looking at this just gives me an indication, and I have to say, yeah, it's not really on the standard of other add-ons, especially for that price. Okay. Now, it could be that this is just this particular livery, which is, by the way, the only one you get. But as far as I understand, there are already freeware ones out there, so you can already get more liveries. But it also gives me the impression that these guys are not finished yet. Okay, but the thing came out. So yeah, it doesn't look bad. And by the way, the door is that's not a design failure. This is actually the door closes. I just had to pause the simulation because the aircraft hasn't got hydraulic power and the parking brake isn't working. So it will start to roll backward here. And I wanted to prevent it from rolling backwards. Therefore, I'm in pause mode so that I have time to show you around and then go into the cockpit, activate the external power. I shall have to show you this in a moment in order to quickly give the electric hydraulic pump a quick buzz so that we get some braking power. Yeah, it was an interesting one because I was wondering, where are we rolling here without anything in cold and dark state. There are no chocks or anything like that, so the airplane just starts happily rolling away. Yeah, with this aircraft also comes this, what they call the ToLiss Interactive Simulation Control System. And there is already one cool thing that I can show you, which is the very first page, and it's the position situations. And as you can see, I have EDLV P1 for parking 1. And what this does is, it will actually reset the aircraft, put it in the state that it was when I saved the situation, and also put it in the same height, speed, and everything. Well, I'm not sure about the speed thingy because there is this predefined situations, final approach and landing. I'm not sure. I haven't tried it in air, but in theory, this should also work in the air. Yeah, and I can show you that if I go here and I say load selected situation. Well, because it is a... Oh, hang on, we are in pause mode. See? So it places the aircraft there, the door were open, and it closes it, and so on. Now, doors is some automatic thing I haven't yet quite understood. But that is actually a pretty cool feature. Pretty cool feature, because I can place my aircraft now at certain positions, and not only that, it has an autosave. Now, I haven't tried that yet because I haven't flown this bird, right? So you're going to see me fly it for the first time. And yes, they do have documentation. And it's not FlightFactor documentation. It's a little bit more than that. So let me quickly browse you through the documentation. It's basically 3 PDFs that you get. You get the aircraft manual, which is, let me see, how many pages that is. Yeah, there's a couple of pages. And it just gives you some basic information about yeah, kind of operating an Airbus, but I mean, it is on a very low level, but it is more than you get with FlightFactor. And they also give you some information about the weight and CG limitations and explain some stuff. So there is something to read here. Then there's the simulation manual. That's actually the one you should probably read first, because I have some issues with my joysticks, especially the brakes. The brakes don't work. I haven't yet managed to get it working, including trashed my my joystick preference file, which caused me then to having to recalibrate everything again from scratch, and even that didn't work. So there is, according to the forum, they're working on that. I hope they do and find a solution. So at the moment I cannot use my brake pedals because it can't detect them. I'll show you in a moment. And then there is this tutorial, which is also quite a large thing. Now, I have not worked through this, okay, but this gives you a nice introduction on how you should go about getting everything set up and programming the FMC. And as you can see, there's loads and loads and loads of stuff. So from a documentation point of view, I can't fault them. They're good. That's the kind of documentation that I would expect for a $70 add-on. Okay, and they also use the X-Updater client from, I think FlightFactor invented that one. So I actually already did an update. It replaced 2 files. And that's a good thing, because that means you can regularly try and check if there are new versions out, because they are still working on it, and they have to, because this thing isn't finished. Let's face it, it's not finished. Okay, but let's see how finished it is, if it's not completely finished. Aircraft configuration. You can set your paxes, you can set your pax distribution, you can set your cargo in kilograms, and you get the kind of CG gross weight diagram, and you have to try and stay inside the sort of proper limits. It gives you then, so we need to maybe unpause the aircraft. No, let's not. Let's just look through here. Yeah, you can set up your fuel. You apply these load settings, quick refuel or slow refuel. Obviously, I haven't yet tried that. And yeah, for performance, you need to probably enter some values here in the FMC. We are not there yet. Later on, you will see some more information in this area. Ground services, we can connect an external power. I'm going to turn that on, and I can also connect a high pressure or unit or a low pressure unit. There is some pushback functionality. I haven't tried that yet. We may actually, although I have better pushback, but we may even try that first and see how that works. Reserved for future extensions, some animations, I suppose, animated services. I don't know if they're going to do, and this is the door thing. So unfortunately, you can't move this thing. Oops. Okay, so it's really bang on in the middle of everything. So if you need this thing during flight, there's nothing you can see. You can actually explicitly open and close doors when the pause is out, or you leave it in auto and then it does some kind of, yeah, it tries to determine what the state of the door should be depending on settings in the cockpit, I suppose. Faults are not yet implemented. What that is, I don't know. Then you have the sound. Now the sound, don't expect too much. I'm not sure if they're going to improve on the sound, but it is okay. It's not exactly great. It's okay. Yeah. And there's this strange sound fading. I haven't turned that on yet, but it's something like if you select this option, PTU and flaps are not audible in cockpit. Yeah, not sure what that is for. Engine type, you can let it determine it automatically. I'm not sure by what that goes, but you could actually select an IAE or a CFM. Okay. Why don't we choose this one? I would expect then for the engine instruments to change because these two have different indications normally. You can have display reflections and you can have window reflections. I'm turning them down a little bit. And you can actually say if the wingtips have sharklets, which probably we will be able to see if we take it out of the pause, which I can't while this thing is on. So let's save the settings. You can actually default the view to the co-pilot seat. I'm not using this view system. And you can have the strobe flash visible in the cockpit. Not sure what. Maybe that's like that in reality. Yeah. So this is the product info, and a lot of stuff here. So we are in version 1.864. There's the primary joystick. That's my Logitech Extreme 3D Pro. You can have a second stick, but then you need to put it on some other axis. So you could have, in theory, have two joysticks and have one on the co-pilot side and on the flight first officer side. Nice one, but I don't need that. Tiller assigned, yeah, I use the Z axis, and this is now the problem. No matter what I try with the pedals, the brake pedals of my Cytec, it does not work, unfortunately. So I had to assign a key and use the kind of default brake action on a key, and I keep forgetting that I have to press the key. You can turn on auto pause on warnings, on warning cautions, and on warning cautions and a TOD. I hate that, so I'm not turning this on, but if you like that, why not? You can do an Adiro quick align if for some reason it gets unaligned, and you can jump to the next waypoint. Now that'll be interesting. I think we might actually give this a go and see how that works. You can decide whether you start cold and dark with external power on or with APU and Adiros on. Override XP start settings. Cold start type, startup type. Engines on. Okay. I have even more options. So I leave it on cold and dark for the moment. ILS auto align, restart required. Can't remember what that exactly is, but I think it's they automatically switch themselves into alignment or something. Why we do have to restart the whole thing, I don't know. Joystick Role for NWS. That is a way, if you do not have a Z-axis like me, you can use the roll, which is basically the joystick's left and right axis for steering. They do have a QPAC. The QPAC is quite an old Airbus flight sort of flight management, no, not management system, the thing that steers the fly-by-wire system, and they have taken obviously the QPAC engine and they've made some modifications, and yeah, you can change some things. You can use the mouse wheel if you turn this on for switches. It's okay. It's not always very clear what but it's okay. It's usable. With F1, F2, you can actually toggle reversers. So F1, F2. I'm not sure if that's keys or what that is. I have that just with normal X-plane things, so that works fine. Aircraft has Florence kit. Don't ask me, I need to find it in documentation what a Florence kit is. And the default baro unit is either inch or HPA, Hectopascal, so as we're in Germany. And yeah, now go, please guys, not now. So, and we can save the preferences here, and that makes this. So that's the control center kind of, and now let's go into the cockpit. You can see now the cargo doors are actually opening. So it does this kind of, no, they're actually closing. So let's go into the cockpit, and here you can see that, yeah, I think we're used to slightly better than that. But let me quickly start up the external power and give the electric pump a quick whirl so that we have braking power, because otherwise we'll start rolling backwards. So that's fine. You can now see how the displays are starting to fire up. And yeah, let's bring the Adirus into the nav position so that they start aligning, because that will take 7 minutes. And yeah, let's put on the nav light so that everybody knows we are here, and let's put them into arm position, and let's turn on all the radios. So, and yeah, let's go through the cockpit and have a look here. Now, the graphical quality is not quite like FlightFactor. No. I'm not sure if that is going to change, if they're going to improve on this, but the looks is not the strength of this airplane. It is okay, and it actually kind of reminds me of the JarDesign A320. Yeah, also from the way it looks, sort of slanted kind of. I do actually prefer what they've done in the FlightFactor, but then again, yeah, and here you can't open windows and stuff like that. Everything looks pretty, and that's high definition, by the way. So yeah, one thing you can do though, you can get those displays out, and all of them, and they're always very dark at the beginning, so in the cold and dark you need to bring them up. Because otherwise you won't be able to read them. Okay, so there they are, and as I say, you can bring them out all, and that is a nice thing. So let me, yeah, but moving them, you keep losing them a lot, so it takes sometimes a little bit before you can move them over, because you pull and then they kind of get stuck. But yeah, that's very good, because you can really bring them up like this. So let's put this here. Let's put this here. Okay, cool. Unfortunately, they don't remember these positions, so you have to do that every time you start. And you also have this thing. Okay, and you also need to make it bright, but the thing is here you have to click. Alright, the thing here and the thing here, they look different. If you can see, here's a dim and bright button, and here it is this wheel, so they're not quite the same. I have already an ARAC cycle of 1801 because I have updated Navigraph, and it seems to take the Navigraph from, is it X-Plane? Or maybe from the FlightFactor. I don't know where it's pulling it from, but it is pulling a current cycle, so it doesn't seem to have its own. Right, so we are on the IAE engines, and you can see that there's an EPER, an EGT, and an N1. Alignment is to take 6 minutes. The parking brake is set, the TCAS is on standby, and yeah, look at that. So okay, let's turn off this tool here. I'm going to increase the to 2SF so that it's not as bad. We still have 30 frames about, so 30 frames is fine. If I reduce the anti-aliasing further, then but yeah, if this is the high definition, guys, the SD version is even more pronounced. And I'm not even sure, because to me they look the same. I haven't really seen any difference, to tell you the truth, or almost no difference between the SD and the HD version. Now, it looks like from an avionics point of view there is a lot of things in there already, and they have actually done a lot of stuff. It doesn't look nice, but I think there is a lot of functionality already available, and we shall see now if we get a proper flight out of this. Weather radar seems to exist. Okay, can we switch it? We can actually cycle it. Okay, that's the cockpit door. Can unlock it. Alright, there is actually a cabin. It is yeah, it's simple, it's low res, sort of, especially the windows and stuff, they don't look very nice, but anyway, they've got a cabin, if you're into that kind of thing. I don't really care, but it's okay, it's there too. So, we are on ARAC cycle 1801, so let's go into the init page, and we're going to fly from Echo Delta Lima Victor to Echo Delta Lima Victor. Let's see how Airbusy this whole thing is. We turn on Align IRS. In theory, we could actually load a flight plan, but I haven't saved any, and they seem to put their flight plans somewhere else. Alright, so you can actually save the flight plan. Now, we could give an alternate, but our alternate will be Echo Delta Lima Victor, and I put this in here so that we don't keep these orange discos here. The flight number is T1, because it is indeed my first flight with it. Cost index is my usual 25. Altitude is flight level 50 or 5,000 feet. It nicely detected that. That's good. And we have a 0 fuel weight off, and for that you need to go here in the ToLiss you need to go to the aircraft configuration, and unfortunately you can't move this thing. Uh-oh. Now, that's not good. Yeah, what can I say? Prozess beenden. Which means that all of what I've done so far was for nothing. Okay, let's start up again. And hope that we get through this time. Now, that doesn't happen very often, I can tell you that. My X-plane is hardly ever crashing. So, I'm pretty sure this has to do with this thing. Resume last flight. Yeah. I'm sort of wondering, what I would say is, from what my first impressions are when I looked at this outside this video, I would say it is somewhere between the FlightFactor and the JarDesign, with the tendency to probably go towards the FlightFactor more than towards the JarDesign, but it has some way to go. This first release is very basic sort of to a degree, where I say that the graphics and everything. $70 is a lot of money. It's basically as much money or even more than you pay for the JarDesign. But let's not forget the JarDesign. It was a very, very long path to success with the JarDesign. So their first versions weren't really very good either. Neither from the graphical point of view. I never liked the A320 actually, because I never thought it looked good to me. And I had so many bugs and issues with the JarDesign. So I hope that this was now one-off. So I'm going to start this thing again. I'm going to load this initial situation again. And I'm not going to drag or tear anything here. So let's go to the ground service. Let's turn that on. And now again, well, you can actually start the Airbus with the external power. I'm kind of used to turning on the batteries first. I give it a quick whirl with the electric pump. And yeah, so now we need to get everything set up again. We need to bring these fellas again into alignment. And going to turn on the nav lights. Okay. And we need to bring those up again so that we can see something. We probably have to position them again because quite obviously they have forgotten where they were. That's a bit that's a shame actually. They can't remember, but it's okay. It's not that difficult to get them placed. So that's good. We need to make them bright. That one it's actually separate as far as I can see. Clear this, and yeah, let's start again. Echo Delta Lima Victor / Echo Delta Lima Victor. Align the IRS. Still 7 minutes to wait. Alternate is Echo Delta Lima Victor. No. Okay. Flight number is, well, we haven't flown yet, so it's still G1. 2550. And actually what I wanted to do is I wanted to call up this page in order and now apply these load settings and do a quick refuel. And I'm still waiting for the numbers to show up here. Or maybe they're here. Oh, hang on. Yeah, so 29.5. I was looking in the wrong place. 29.5% and 51.4. Okay, you need to give this slash. Otherwise, you can't just give the zero fuel weight. You need to give the slash. And obviously, if these values are calculated, the block fuel, we're going to have 7 tons, and that's the initial fuel prediction for our tour. It's pretty simple. And now we go to the flight plan page. Echo Delta Lima Victor, departure, runway 27, Zone 3 Sierra, no transition, insert. Yep. I haven't yet been able to program a key for this one. I haven't found that one. Probably have to program something, but maybe I have just missed it. And we're coming back via the ILS 27 on the SOP 21 Whiskey, Novia, insert. Alright, we're clearing this discontinuity, and that's our speciality. I'm clearing this, going directly to remat, and we're going to be at 2600 at remat. Oops, hang on. Speed restriction, descent speed limit, altitude constraint. $2,600. Return. See this? It has recalculated them. Nice. I'm going to save this flight plan now. Execute, which means that in theory we should be able to call up the flight plan should there be any need for it. Which basically means, should we not be seeing this now? No FMS QPC files found. Where did you save it? Well then, let's have a look. So, let's step through and see. I would have expected more, but let's try an overfly. Oh no, that was wrong. Can I turn this off? Oh yeah, that worked. Oh, well, that's nice. SONIP. We want to overfly SONIP. Yeah! That didn't work in the JarDesign. They just never foresaw that. Here the overfly is actually working. Great. I am impressed. Great. Right, let's go to the performance. Transition altitude 5000. Now the V-speeds, again, we need to call up this this tool. I think you can program a key for that, or don't drag it, because that's when things went wrong the last time. Now I'm trying to figure out where did I see the V-speeds? The V-speeds, where were they? Takeoff performance. Oh, slat and flap 1. Departure runway, it now knows it's 27. It can obviously take some values, so it actually gives me, interestingly, it gives me a CG of 30.8, down 0.1, which means I can go here and set this up. We're going to do this in a moment. And we have here the V speeds, 143. They're pretty high. I'm not sure if they're really completely correct, but they are somewhat high. So we're going to take flaps 1 with down 0.1. Down 0.1. It is a bit impractical. Oh. I have to be careful, because the last time I did that, we crashed. Okay. Flex temperature 73? Guys, no. No. Not 73. That's far too much. Let's take 43. I think also the V speeds that they don't look right to me. Not for a small aircraft like this. I would expect this on a heavy or something. But anyway, let's use them. I hope that we get off this runway. But not with flex temperature 73. So we're going to use 53 or 43. Flag retraction 141, slat retraction 175, clean speed is 202, runway 27. Okay, so there we go. The manage is 250, 291, 291. Okay, and I can already fill this out. We don't really have any wind. Transition level is flight level 50. The approach speed is 134. The flaps, okay. Clean speed is about 200. The decision height we're going to put in 200. Config 3. Landing speed 129. ILS 27. Let's have a look. Here it already got the right ILS. And yeah. Automatic frequency. Let's see if we can preset something here. Okay. Cool. So that should mean that we are done. So that's the direct to page. This is the progress page. Report. What happens here? I wonder if that is actually working. We can try during the flight. Data. Okay, there's not much we can do here. MCDU is not much. ADC com nothing. Secondary flight plan doesn't exist. Fuel prediction. Yeah. Okay, and here you can switch between airports. I think that should do. I mean, that works all quite nicely, I have to say. So, if you see one dot, you press in. If you see two dots, you press out. So managed. We can't yet. Now we. Oh, well, now we can set it. Oops. So 5,000, and I'm pressing in. So we have now dash dot dash dot altitude dot dash. And that should do for the whole flight setup. Looks like the route is in there. So let's try and get ready. Okay, so these things are aligned now, they're fine. There are actually fire tests, although they do a little pinging, but usually we cannot see anything on the displays, and as the moment I move down, they're gone. So this is not quite like in the FlightFactor, for example, where you at least see the respective pages. Now let's start the fuel pumps and let's get better pushback. Let me see. Yep, it has already a good position.
Ground to Cockpit. Plan acknowledged. Call me through the menu when you're ready.
Thank you. So let's do the before start checklist to the line. Cockpit preparation is completed. Gear pins and covers are removed. The signs are on auto. Why are we actually so close here? Something with the views. Okay, let's program it. So nav light is off again. Did I not turn that on? Oh no, we crashed. Yeah, sure. We did crash. So let's put on the beacon so that they know that we're going to start very soon. The RDRs are enough. Fuel quantity is 7 tons. Takeoff data is set. Bar reference is set. And now let's see what about doors. Windows and doors are closed. That's below the line now. The beacon is on. The thrust levers are in the idle position. And the parking brake is set. Right, let's get the pushback.
Ground to Cockpit. ToLiss driving up.
So, the magic of better pushback. I read on the forum that some people had issues with better pushback, but then many others say it works fine, so we shall see.
Okay, all doors and hatches are closed. Ready to connect. Set parking brake.
Parking brake is set, I hope. At least the last time I looked. Yo. All right. Uh-huh. Oh yeah, that's my joystick jittering again.
Tow connected and bypass pin inserted. Release parking brake.
Whoops. So, release parking brake. I'm not sure if that works with my button. It seems to, but...
Starting pushback, and you may start the engines.
Okay. Oh, we forgot something important. Can you guess what? That's not good. Yeah, I completely forgot to turn on the APU, which is not good. Where are you pushing us? What's it doing? You can hear the APU coming up. Completely forgot to turn on the APU. I wonder how much of what we have set up is now still there. If we are unlucky, then we'll have to do it all over again. Well, let's see. Yeah, I have. Or? Doesn't look good. This does not look good. And the problem is our flight plan doesn't seem to be available either, huh? It kind of remembers though EDLV 27, so I don't know. Oh crap. What about the alignment? Okay, so the alignment, there's a really funny thing because the brakes kind of do something when the parking brake is
Operation complete. Please set parking brake.
okay, parking brake is set and
Disconnecting tow. Stand by.
now we have to start all over again. No, actually some of it seems to be there. So that's there. What about the flight plan? Yeah. That was stupid. Okay. Right then. Departure 27, Zone 3 Sierra, insert. Arrival, ILS 27, Sub 1 Whiskey, Novia, insert, duck. Let's clear this one. Let's clear this one. Let's clear this one. Go here. Say 2600. And Kupak say flight plan subdirectories. Not sure what that is, but what can you do here? I don't know. Execute. Probably didn't help, but so yeah, I remember that one. So what was that? I'm going to take that now. 5152. I have a feeling that we might be taking off earlier than that. Have we got everything? Okay. And that was stupid. Completely forgot the APU. Yeah, no second pilot to prevent that from happening. So, okay, so I think we've got it back. And that means finally we can start an engine. Okay, here we go. Yeah. I'm not very good today. So, N2 is rising. So we have ignition, we have fuel flow. And the E per se is pretty low, okay, but we have definitely fuel flow. Not sure about these values here. would have expected to see something moving here, but maybe. Who knows? Number 2. That's the PTU coming on. The barking dog. So we seem to have terrain. And I'm pretty sure we have weather radar. We just don't have weather. So ignition is off, you have fuel flow. Okay. Looks like we have 2 good starts. I know what happened. I pressed probe heat instead of APU bleed. Okay, so we don't need these anymore. I'm going to put that into auto mode. I'm going to turn on the taxi lights. And looking good up here. No indications that something is wrong. Well then, let's get rolling here. And I can't use my brakes, so I need to remember to use the keys. So let's disconnect the parking brake. And off we go. It starts rolling very quickly. Yeah, I mean, performance-wise, it is actually relatively easy on the frames, this thing. Relatively easy. Oh, hang on. Ugh! Come on, turning. Alright, now. Because for some reason my altitude doesn't seem to be correct. And the programming for the keys for the altitude don't seem to work. 5,000, okay. Dash dot, and so on. That's fine. Cycle the flight director again. Auto brake. Put that on max. Look at this here. This is really bad. I wonder why it is so. I've never had an aircraft where it looked like this. Cabin check. I think we need to press one of them buttons here. Yeah. And the takeoff flaps. So we need to bring the flaps into position 1. I use the key for that. That is... I'm on idle power. Okay. The after start anti-ice is off. Ecam status checked. Pitch trim is... oh yeah, the pitch trim. We need to bring it to about 30. So that is roughly here. Okay. Oh yeah, I don't have brakes. Hang on. I need to use that's the key, and it's kind of, it brakes very heavily, so you use very short bursts of it to slow down. It's not perfect, but it'll do for the moment until this gets fixed. So let's do the before takeoff to the line. I'm going to stop here for a moment. Okay, parking brake on. And we have to do the flight control check. Full left, full right, full up, full down, full left, full right. And the only thing that doesn't work, although it looks like it's working, but it isn't actually, because the moment the parking brake is off, the brakes don't work. It's really strange, because it seems not to be able to detect my brake pedals. Where is it? Here. Yeah. It did see my tiller, the Z axis, but it doesn't seem to see the pedal brakes. Pedal brakes, yeah. So, right. Then let's so where, okay. So how do we switch on? Is that auto mode or what? Ah, auto mode on. That means in theory it should turn the transponder on. Okay, and then we need the lights. Oops, put the whole candle, all the candles on, and before takeoff checklist, flight controls checked, flight instruments checked, briefing is confirmed, flap settings config 1. V1 we are, V2 flex temperature is set, ATC is set, ECAM memo takeoff no blue. And below the line cabin crew is advised, engine start selectors is on normal, and the packs are we going to, well, let's turn them off. Then we need to remember to turn them on again. Okay, off we go. So hang on. Yeah. The sound isn't great, I have to say. It's not really like an Airbus thing, somehow. We don't seem to get a DME readout from 115.5. I would have expected this, but well, let's see. Maybe when we're up in the air. Whoa. Yeah, visually this is not really very appealing, I have to say. I can only hope that they will improve this a little bit over time. Okay, so I think we are ready. Let's see how this bird flies. Manual flex, 43 SAS runway. V1 rotate. Positive rate, gear up. Oops, so let's follow the flight director. Thrust climb, acceleration, yeah, one has to get used to following that flight director, but it's okay. Flaps up. So 5,000. We need to now follow the also the horizontal bar. Okay, let's turn on the autopilot. That was enough flying, but it looks good so far. We have a master caution. Oh yeah, because the packs, obviously with all this steering myself and nobody helping me here, we forgot to turn on the packs again, but that's okay because we got an indication. Is that, why is that off again? Why did the, oh my god, why am I asking? I thought I had turned this on. Right, after takeoff, climb, landing gear up, flaps retracted, packs are on, bar reference standard. So, very good. I'm going to set auto brake low, ready for our landing. And want some destination data. What does that mean, please? What do you mean with destination data? What are you talking about? Now the sound doesn't really, it doesn't really cut it for me, but yeah, there you go. I definitely like the way it flies. And the avionics seems to be pretty good. I can tell you that I've tested the beta version of the JarDesign A320. And that was a mess again, getting this route set up, and I wasn't able to use the overfly. Oh, actually, we need. Oh, yeah. Hang on. We still need to do the overfly thing for Sonep. Insert. Because when we crashed, I forgot actually to put it in. So that didn't work with the JarDesign. So we basically, shortly after Lima 4204, it just turned. So this thing actually is flying. If you tell it to overfly it, it will actually do it. That's very good. I mean, it is easy on the frames. You can see that. It's actually quite okay. So now let's see I believe that it will go to SONAP, but we're going to make a little change now just for testing. I'm going to go direct sub 2. Yep, that works. Wind data. Request wind. Oh, interesting. Step outs. I wonder if that is already coded. Oh yeah, progress, report. Overhead, Lima Victor 204, UTC, altitude, sub 2, remat. So this is actually a working position report page. Fuel on board 6.3 tons. Top of descent at flight level 050 at 1117, 5.5 nautical miles, which means, in other words, very soon it would like us to go down. So why don't we put it on 2600 and let's see what happens. Graphics. It's a bit of an eyesore, I think, but I'm not that happy with the graphics. But I like the inner values of it. So we've reached now the top of descent. You can see this little, see that there? And obviously we need to tell it now to follow by pressing inward. Now it goes into descent mode, and we'll now try to get this little circle into the middle. And we'll try and keep the speed in the bracket here. You see this from here to here. And when we're near remat, I'm going to activate the approach phase. So that's briefing is confirmed, decam status is checked. Seat belts are on, the bar reference is set, MDA and decision height is set to 100, and when the engine starts, selectors normal. We're going to get to the deceleration point. It will then try and slow down. I'm going to activate the landing system. So we can see I and IW, that's the ILS, this is the localizer, this is the glide slope, and I am going to arm the approach. Alt GS, lock. Blue means they are armed, but they're not yet active. We are still in descent mode and in nav mode. Since we have almost reached 2600, we should switch very soon we should switch from descent to, well, so you can see now how the speed goes down, and it has automatically initiated the approach mode. I'm going to take flaps 1. You can see now how the localizer comes in. It will try and intercept it. Loc captured, star. Glide slope is still coming in. We are in alt mode at the moment, staying on 2600. And so unfortunately I can't see a DME from the 115.5. Normally there should be a value, but let's see if I can see this. No, we don't seem to have reception. Gear down. And flaps full. We're almost at the outer marker. Cabin check, spoilers arm. Cabin check, you need to go up here and press one of them buttons here. Alright. And I'm going to activate the second autopilot for an auto land. And then see what happens. The auto scenery looks a little bit washy because I had to scale down the texture resolution due to some video memory issues, because I don't want the graphic card and the stutters that come from that to influence this test here. It doesn't look great, but it's okay. I can live with it. Alright, let's get ready. Landing checklist, cabin crew advised, auto throttle speed, ECAM memo landing no blue. Putting my hands now on the throttle levers and on the side stick.
400.
Land mode active.
100 above. 300.
Slightly on the high side,
Minimum.
but
200.
let's see where we actually touch down.
$100. 50, 40, 30, 20. Retard, retard, retard.
Okay. And I'm going into reverse now. The auto brake is working. Reversers are undeployed, manual braking. Well, that went very well, I have to say. So let's turn the auto brake off. The Ground spoilers are still armed. I wonder if it has actually deployed. We shall see now on the repetition. I still don't have brakes. No manual brakes. Ah, that's why the manual braking didn't take over. I understand. Okay. Yeah, that's a bit... Ah, you get used to it. Alright, so let's have a look at the repetition. Toggle replay mode. And we go outside. Let's use this side. ...350 feet per minute. Well, the autopilot wouldn't do a greaser, but it's okay. It's not an outlandish value. And it looks better than many of my landings. There's the spoilers, there's the reversers. Okay. Okay, let's bring in the speed brakes and resume. We've got the park brake on, yeah. Let's bring in the flaps. Well, the looks not great, so I'm not really overly convinced of the looks. This is yeah. There are really nicer ones out there, but maybe that's something that they're going to improve. Let's not forget this is the high definition version, and yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't call that high definition, right? The sound, okay, acceptable. I don't really care. I mean, yeah, I do care a little bit. It's nice if you have good sound, but it's not that important. Flight dynamics, fly-by-wire, feel very good. Yeah, the autoland, as we can see, worked out really nice. And it looks like the whole avionics, all this flight management, flight guidance system and so on, that seems to be quite good, and it is definitely, it appears more stable than the ones that I know from JarDesign. And as I say, I just recently tested a beta version of the Jar A330, and it was all over the place. Now, okay, it's a beta version, but you would think that after so many generations of versions that even a beta would do certain things properly, but I don't know. So this one here, everything was spot on. I had no issues, apart from one crash. We shall not forget, we actually crashed when I was trying to move the control center thingy. Not sure why that happened, or if that's something that could happen again. So I would say it's not finished. This is a good bit from finished, from real finished, like not released finished. Yeah, we have a bit of the brake fans are on. Nice one. So let's see, we have some. Oh yeah, we don't really have much temperature. It's okay. But you can see that the brake fans are on hot mode. They've been turned on automatically. Yeah, they have weather radar, they have terrain, everything that you would expect for that price class. And the graphics, they remind me a little bit on the FlightFactor 777. So from like the writing and all that. So the FlightFactor is a little bit more expensive, but not that much. And yeah, the performance is good. So I had no issues with the performance with this one whatsoever, which is no surprise, because basically with these textures you don't burden your graphic card. And the avionics, the FMGC, doesn't seem to influence the frames overly, overburden it sort of, so that's good, I would say. So I think if you have a not so top-notch PC like me, this one is definitely something that would work out fine. I know that I heard from one of my fellow YouTubers that the outside there are actually more high-resolution textures or better sort of liveries than this, so they should look quite okay. I haven't got one yet because, as I say, I just bought this thing and I didn't have time to actually look for it. Ah, there it is. Yeah, okay. Forgot to actually press that button. Yeah, the gear extension. Ha! We can actually extend the gear. You can see where this is heading. This is heading towards sort of system depth thingy, study level, I think. Not sure whether we really are there yet. From an FMC point of view, maybe. Although there are still things missing. They're not complete. Yeah. So I don't think you have wasted your money if you buy this, but it's early. It's very early. Me being early again. Yeah. So we have to see and wait if that thing gets improved as they promise, and if we get maybe also a bit better looks than this, because that doesn't impress me much. Okay, that's it. That's the try and fly for the ToLiss A319. Another Airbus now on the block. Definitely better than the Peter Hager, and I would say very good potential to be much better than the JarDesigns. Just my personal opinion, but not in the league of the FlightFactor. So if you want that perfectionism, or more perfectionism than this, then you need to go for the FlightFactor. You need to invest in the FlightFactor. If you don't really care that much, if you want a stable kind of Airbus with a good avionics, this could be your candidate. The only thing is you maybe want to wait a little bit and see when the first patches come out and corrections are done and so on. They have already announced that there's going to be an update or a patch very soon, which shall probably see some more improvements on the overall package and features and stuff. Right, that's it. The try and fly. Until next time.